Hear no evil, see no evil.
So I'm having a really hard time understanding why in 2022 we think it's perfectly acceptable to wind up small dogs for entertainment purposes. If we look at the circus and animals, everybody can agree that animals do not belong in the circus. Yet here we are in 2022 purposely winding up dogs for our own entertainment, for views, for likes. It's insane. We are literally winding dogs up to the point they are biting, and then when they bite us, we often rehome them or the dog gets put to sleep. Can we stop normalising this kind of stuff on TikTok and other social media platforms? Please, thank you. 3 big mistakes we make when we meet a strange dog for the first time. Number 1, interacting with that dog in any way, shape or form before it's had a chance to smell us. When a dog comes over to you, it's not because it wants you to stroke it, it's because it wants to investigate who you are, where you've been, and they do that through using their nose. After this, you can see how the dog feels about you. Will that dog walk away? If so, it doesn't care about you, but at least you gave the opportunity to find out. If it sits next to you or nudges you, then it generally wants affection from you. Which brings me to mistake number 2, touching the dog on top of the head. Now, this is different from your dog. Remember, you know your dog and you have a relationship with your dog. But a lot of strange dogs, particularly the guardian breeds, don't like being touched on top of the head. They'll often back away or nudge your hand away. It's a very threatening act. Mistake number 3 is holding your hand out for a dog to sniff. With nervous dogs, this actually looks like you're trying to touch the dog, and it can be seen as a very threatening act. When a dog comes over to you for the first time, let it sniff you, then you'll know how that dog feels, and then act accordingly. Stroke the dog on the backside or on its chest so it brings the head up. And remember, always ask the owner first. Do you want your dog to stop pulling? Stop overcomplicating something that's so bloody simple. Dogs pull because they've got 4 legs, we've got 2 legs, they're excited, so they naturally move faster than us. Tension hits that lead, you move forward with tension on that lead, thus reinforcing pulling. How about we stop that? How about when the dog hits the end of that lead, we stop and we actually walk backwards, encouraging our dog to come towards us. And when it's by our side, mark and reward. How about as it's by our side, we take a few steps forward, mark and reward. A few more steps forward, mark and reward. So the dog learns this position next to me is where I want to be. And again, if it goes in front, we just stop. We walk backwards, getting the dog to go here. And we're always moving in that straight line as well, guys. So the dog is learning the only way we actually progress forward for any length of time is by staying here. Stop going to a park when there's loads of dogs running around, loads of distractions running around, expecting your dog to walk nicely when you can't even walk up and down your street nicely. The better your dog behaves, the more fun it has, the more places you take your dog to. Lead walking isn't difficult. Make sure the dog's calm at the start of the walk and make sure you don't reinforce pulling. Big mistake we make with puppies, ladies and gentlemen, is letting that puppy dictate when and where it sleeps. This is a big problem. Here's why. As that puppy gets older, it's going to get more energy, it's going to get more confident, it's going to get more bold, which means it will go longer and longer in between naps. Dogs that aren't taught to switch off at a young age will often go on to develop separation anxiety, even resource guarding because they keep stealing things, excessive barking, destructive tendencies, lots of problems, okay? Because they're not switching off properly. So they're constantly on the go, on the go, on the go. This is why I'm a huge advocate for crate training, yeah? We use cots for babies because we understand the importance of regular naps and the cot keeps them safe and secure. That's effectively what a crate is for a dog. So what you do is you tire the puppy out in a productive sense. That's your time to interact with the puppy, teach it something, educate it, and bond with it. After that, it needs a nap. It should sleep for a couple of hours. When it wakes up, you repeat this all over again. Then you'll find that you'll have a much better relationship with your puppy, much calmer. An overtired puppy will turn into a walking land shark, will start fucking terrorizing you, terrorizing the children, biting the lead, biting ankles, because it's tired. Don't wait for your puppy to crash. You set nap time for puppies. Dog breeds that make no fucking sense. Part 2. And shock horror, it's not a doodle breed. Well-bred doodles are actually really cool little dogs. Now, number 3, teacup Yorkshire Terriers or teacup fucking Chihuahuas. I mean, why? Just fucking why? If it can be stolen by a bird of prey, is it really a fucking dog? Right, there's nothing wrong with a Chihuahua in itself, great excels at tricks, and there's nothing wrong with the Yorkshire Terrier, badass little hunting breed. This teacup building things into micro has to stop. If you are breeding dogs and you're making the health and the life expectancy and everything worse, you should be banned from owning dogs. If you're funding the pockets of these greedy arseholes, you should be banned from owning dogs. If you're offended by this, I don't really care, because you're part of the problem. If you want something rare, exotic, one of a kind, go to a bloody rescue. There are mutts galore in there that will way outlive your micro teacup bullshit dogs.
Where are you? I'm over here.
Yeah, it's pretty standard for a Rottweiler.
Let go! Let go! Now! Let go! Let go! Bully!
Let's talk about this video, okay? This is why I say never ever let your dog run over to a strange dog. At some point, it's going to run over to the wrong dog and a fight's going to ensue. Big mistake we're having here is both people have no idea how to separate a dog fight. Pulling a dog off of another dog, if you've ever played tug of war, you'll know when you try to pull something away from the dog, it bites harder and gets more determined, higher risk of injury. There are 2 people here, which means both people can choke their dog out. The safest way of stopping a dog fight is to choke your dog out. I always carry a spare lead with me so I can wrap it around the dog if necessary and choke that dog out. The dog's not going to die, but it's going to be a lot quicker and a lot easier to stop it than the dog having life-changing injuries. Never ever let your dog run over to another dog, and don't let your dog interact with dogs unless you know how to separate a dog fight. If you see a dog in one of these, or one of these, it means the dog is nervous and or reactive and it needs space. If you can't keep your dog away from it, make sure it's on a lead. The dogs are wearing these for a reason. Please respect them. Put your finger down, dog edition. Put your finger down if the dog looks to you for direction before getting anything fun or exciting. Put your finger down if your dog knows down means down until released or given further instructions. Put a finger down if your dog knows sit means sit until released or given further instructions. Put a finger down if your dog knows how to walk nicely on a lead. Put a finger down if your dog comes back to you every single time you call it. Put a finger down if your dog understands thresholds and to not pass that threshold without permission. Put a finger down if your dog knows leave it. Put a finger down if your dog is crate trained or at the very least knows how to switch off. Put a finger down if you can leave food out without your dog touching it. Put a finger down if your dog doesn't have any behavioural issues. If your last finger was left up, then work on all of the things I've just mentioned because they will help you massively. Breeds that make total fucking sense if you've never had a dog. Number 1, the Golden Retriever. Intelligent, active, naturally sociable with just about everyone and everything. That dog will go anywhere you want it to go and it'll be absolutely great as a well-rounded family dog. Very easy to train. Number 2, the Greyhound. The Greyhound is naturally docile, naturally good with children. There are a shit ton in rescue. Go and get one from a rescue, okay? If you do get one from a rescue, just be prepared to muzzle it around small furry animals. Nicknamed the world's fastest couch potato. It's great for lazy families. If you want something smaller, a Whippet. A Whippet and Greyhound are very similar in personality types, just a Whippet is smaller. Number 3, the Labrador Retriever. Again, similar to that of the Golden Retriever, naturally friendly. Avoid working lines if you're a first-time dog owner because that dog's going to want to work. It might be too much dog for you to begin with. Go for show lines, but a Labrador, what you see is what you get. It's a true noble dog. If you wanted something massive, then may I suggest to you the Newfoundland. Absolutely docile, gentle, giant. One of the things that we do all the time with dogs is we stroke dogs. Yeah, we just stroke them for the sake of stroking them. They're there, we stroke them. It's part of having a dog. It's why we love dogs, right? And there's nothing wrong with stroking your dog. However, most dogs jump up. Most dogs are needy. Most dogs are neurotic. Most dogs these days have some form of issue, right? So, Do this simple thing. If you want to reduce jumping up, if you want to reduce needy behaviour, before you stroke your dog, ask it to sit. Do this every single time. Your dog will learn that sitting nicely is what gets them a fuss. It's on your terms, okay? So it changes that whole dynamic as well and reduces neediness. The other thing to remember is when you stroke a dog, it is a form of reward. So whatever the dog is doing in that moment in time, if you're stroking them, you're basically saying, good boy, good girl for this. So just stop for a second before you stroke your dog and ask yourself, are you really happy with what the dog's doing? Something like popping a dog in a sit changes everything and it can help massively. And it's a win-win. You can still stroke your fucking dog all day long. 6 things that will change your relationship with your dog for the better forever. I promise you. Do this. Make sure before you give your dog anything fun or exciting, you wait for eye contact. Before going for a walk, before giving them their dinner, before releasing them from a static position, getting in and out of the car, in and out of the garden. Simply wait for eye contact. Your dog will learn that you are the key to everything fun or exciting. Number 2, practice this every single day with your dog. Thresholds, again, before leaving the house, before letting your dog in the garden, before getting in and out of the car, before getting to that park. Any place where you can practice thresholds, make sure your dog's calm, wait for it to acknowledge you, then take the dog into it. The dog will be much calmer. The other thing you need to do, dogs will often want attention from you and we give dogs attention all the time. So before you stroke your dog and interact with your dog, ask it to sit. Your dog needs to learn that every single time you stroke it, it's in a sit. This will reduce jumping up and it will teach your dog how to behave appropriately in order to receive attention. Proper exercise. Yeah, when you go out with your dog, don't just go to the same park and field every single day and let it run around. Take it on sniff walks, take it to different places, practice some obedience with your dog, tug of war, fetch, things like that. Massive, massive difference. After walks, after play, after exercise, send your dog to its bed. When you're eating, send the dog to its bed so the dog learns to switch off and how to behave during certain activities so it doesn't steal things or beg for food. And practice, sit, down, come, heel, leave it, food refusal, threshold, 5 to 10 minutes a day, both inside and outside the home. Massive, massive difference. It'll improve your relationship so much with your dog if you practice these 6 things. Stop taking your dog to the same park and field every single day and thinking that's socialising. Letting your puppy play with dogs on a daily basis and letting every single person that thinks your puppy cute say hello to it has fooled a great many dog owners into thinking that's what socialising is. This is what socialising is. Taking your dog to many different places, exposing them to many different sights, sounds, smells, animals, but teaching them how to behave. Teaching your dog social ignorance. Just because there's dogs there doesn't mean you can run over and say hello. That's how puppies get in trouble very, very fast. Keeping your puppy on a lead so you've got control of it so it doesn't learn, it doesn't have to listen to you. Here. Oh, you're a lovely side of shops, aren't you? Oh, come on, Bubba. Use that nose of yours. Who said bulldogs can't sniff? Who said it? All right, I'll hold hands. Why are we filming this? Child visibly in distress in an incredibly dangerous situation. That dog's got hold of what appears to be a biscuit of some sort, and the child has also got hold of it. This is a bite waiting to happen. Look where your child's face is, look where the dog's mouth is. If that dog does react, it's going to get your child in the face. Dog gets put to sleep as a result. Child has life-changing injuries, if not worse. For what? The sake of a viral video? Now, I'm really not trying to hate on you, but we need to stop promoting shit like this and start teaching children and dogs how to interact safely. Anytime food's around, the dog should be nowhere near the child and vice versa. There's no hate here, but please don't let your child go in the crate with the dogs. When your dog's in the crate, that's their safe spot, that's their place of relaxation, and a child should never ever be bothering a dog when it's asleep, particularly when it's in its crate. The position that your child is in this video, it takes a split second for the child's world, your world, the dog's world to all be turned upside down. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it for a cute video because this isn't cute. Yeah, licking doesn't always mean affection. A lot of the time, licking is appeasement. You can see that the dogs are visibly stressed in this video, okay? Now, ask yourself, is it worth the risk? What would you do if that dog turned around and bit your child? We all say, oh my God, it's never gonna happen. My dog would never do that. My dog would never hurt a fly. And everybody turns around and says, I just don't understand why it happened. There's always warning signs there. Please don't let your child bother the dogs when the dogs are in their place, resting, sleeping, chilling. When should we leave doggies alone?
When they're eating and when they're sleeping.
What should we never do with doggies?
Climb with them and pull them around.
Why shouldn't we do these things, darling?
Because they could get upset and bit.
Well done. Remember, guys, leave dogs alone when they're eating, when they're sleeping, and never use dogs as climbing frames or toys to pull, prod, and poke. Safety first. Yeah, so going this way. Step to the side to bring you with me. That stepping to the side is creating space to make it easy. Again, side step. Side step. Yeah? Breeds that make no f***ing sense. Number 1, the micro bully. I mean, what the f*** is that dog anyway? I mean, that dog is not going to live past 3. Built like a toad, f***ing can't breathe. It's a stupid fucking dog. Anyone buying them shouldn't be allowed near dogs. In at number 2, what appears to be a latest craze is the bald French bulldog. Why would you take a dog that's already unhealthy and make it worse? We should be trying to improve on the French bulldog. Longer legs, longer snouts. That fucking dog is going to be so broken. Again, only brain dead people would ever buy that. We want nothing to do with it. And number 3, this is going to surprise a lot of people.